Today, today we are going to see about procure to pay process, and process cycle. Procure to pay process is the integrating and purchasing on the accounts payable seems to create greater efficiencies. It exceeds within the larger procurement management process and involves four key stages: selecting goods and services, enforcing complaints and order, receiving and reconciliation, invoicing and payment. So here is a process of requisition, purchasing, receiving, paying for the purchasing and receiving, paying and accounts for goods and services. And it gets named from the order sequence of procurement and financial process, starting with the first step of procurement goods or services to the final steps involved in the paying it for it. So the goods will be procured, goods or services will be procured, and the final steps of, so we need to pay for the goods or services which we buy. So these are all the steps involved in the procure to pay. Procure to pay process flow. Identify needs, create requisitions, requisition approval, create a PO or spot buy, purchase order approval, goods receipt, supplier performance, invoice approval, and vendor payment. Procure to pay process. The procure to pay process is also known as purchase to pay, and P2P refers to a series of steps that organizations follow to manage the acquisition of goods and services from external suppliers. The P2P process includes various stages from identifying a need of goods or services and concluding with the payment to the suppliers. It is an essential business process that helps streamline procurement activities, control costs, and ensure efficient supplier management. So here they are saying about, so they refers to the organization which should be followed for the acquisition of goods or services from the suppliers, external suppliers. So here is the they involves various stages for identifying goods or services and the need of goods or services with payment to the suppliers. It is an essential business process that helps with the procurement activities, control cost, ensure efficient supplier management. So here we are going to see about procure to pay process. First step is identify needs. The first step of procure to pay process is to determine and define the business requirements with the help of cross-functional stakeholders. Once a valid need is identified, procurement terms sketch out high-level specifications for goods or products and terms of reference for services and statement of work. So here they are saying about the procure to pay process should be defined, and it should be requirements with the help of cross-functional stakeholders. So once a need is valid and it's identified, so the procurement team will sketch out the specifications of high-level goods and services and terms of reference for the goods and services and statement of work. Create requisitions. After finalizing the specifications, terms of reference and statement of work, formal purchase requisition is created. Requesters submit the filed out purchase requisition from. After ensuring that all necessary administrative requirements are met, requisitions can be created for any type of procurement from standard purchases to subcontracts and consignments. So, after finalizing the specifications of terms of reference and the statements of work, purchase requisition will be created. So a requester will submit the form requisition, purchase requisition filed out form, and he will ensure all the necessary requirements to be met or met, like that he will ask. So and then requisitions should be created for the any type of procurement from standard purchases to subcontracts and consumers. Purchase requisition approval. Next point, submitted purchase requisitions are then reviewed by department heads or procurement officers. Approvers can either approve or reject a purchase requisition after evaluating the need, verifying the available budget, and validating the purchase requisition form. Incomplete purchase requisitions are rejected back to the initiator for correction and submission. So here they are saying about after submitted purchase requisition form, so they will be reviewed by the department head and the procurement officers, and the procurement department heads and procurement head officers will be reviewing their purchase requisition submission of purchase requisition form. So after approving, they can either approve or reject a purchase requisition form. So and they will validate if they needed means. So they will validate, they will verify the given available budget, and they will validate the purchase requisition form. And incomplete purchase requisition or rejected back to the initiator for correction and resubmission. So they will first approve whether if can either approvers can either approve or reject a purchase requisition form after evaluating the need, verifying the available budget, given available budget, and validating the purchase requisition for requisition form. Incomplete purchase requisitions are rejected back to the initiator for correction and resubmission. Use spot buy. If the requested goods and services, goods or products have characteristics such as unmanaged category buys, on-time unique purchases or low-value commodities, then a spot buy can be performed else purchase orders are created from approved purchase requisitions. So, if the requested goods or services have characteristics such as unmanaged categories buys, means they will just check with the one-time unique purchase or low-value commodities. Then a spot buy can be performed and purchase orders should be created from approved requisitions. Purchase order approval. Purchase orders are now sent through an approval loop to ensure the legitimacy and accuracy of specifications. Approved purchase of orders are then dispatched to vendors. After reviewing the purchase order, vendors can either approve, reject, or start a negotiation. When an officer approves a purchase order, a legally binding contract is activated. So here purchase orders are sent through an approval basis. So and they will ensure the legitimacy and accuracy of specifications is ensured correctly or not, like that they will check. So after approving the purchase orders, they will dispatch to the vendors. So and they will review the purchase orders. The vendors can either approve or reject or start a negotiation. So when an officer, so if the officer approves the purchase order, legally blinding contract is activated. Goods receipt. Once the supplied, so here they are saying about, so after approving the purchase order, so it will be dispatched to the vendors. So they will review the purchase order, can either approve or reject or start in. They will start a negotiation. So when the officer starts approving a purchase order legally, binding contract is activated. Binding contract is activated. Step 6. Goods receipt. Once the supplier delivers a promised goods or services, the buyer inspects the delivered products or service to ensure that it complies with the contract terms. The goods receipt is the approved or rejected based on the standards specified in the purchasing contract or purchase order. So once a supplier delivers the purchased promised goods or services, okay, so then the buyer inspects that delivered products or services, ensures that it complies with the contract terms. So if the goods is receipt is approved or rejected based on the standards specified in the purchasing contract, purchase order. Months. Based on the data obtained from the previous step, the supplier performance is evaluated. A number of factors like quality, on-time delivery, service, contract, compliance, responsiveness, and total cost of ownership, non-performance is flagged in existing rosters and information systems for future reference. So the supplier performance, how they will evaluate means, so based on the given data of the previous step. So number of factors like quality, contract, on-time delivery service, responsiveness, total cost of ownership. Though non-performance is flagged in existing rosters and information system for future reference. Invoice approval. Once your goods received is approved, invoice approval. Once a goods receipt is approved, a three-way match between purchase order, the vendor invoice, and the goods a receipt is performed. If there are no discrepancies found, the invoice is approved and forwarded to the finance team for payment disbursement. In the case of inaccuracies, the invoice is rejected back to the vendor with the reason for rejection. Invoice approval. Once a goods receipt is approved means, so three-way match between the purchase order, vendor invoice, and the goods receipt will be performed. So if there is no discrepancies found means the invoice will be approved and they will forward to the finance team, and they will pay for the given payment disbursement. So if there is any in case of there is any case of inaccuracies means the so invoice will be rejected back to the vendor, and they will reject with the given reason. So this way the invoice is approving. Vendor payment. Upon receiving an approved invoice, the finance team will process payments according to the contract terms. Any contract changes or reviews of liquidated financial security will be taken into account. A payment made to supplier will fall into one of the following five types: advance, partial, progress or installment, final and holdback, retention payments. So upon receiving an approved invoice, the finance team will start the process payments according to the given terms. So if there is any reviews or any contract changes or liquidated financial security will be taken into account, and payment made to a supplier will fall into the any five types of category like advance, partial progress or installment, final and holdback retention payments.